All right, guys. Welcome to today's episode of the Hinkieittes podcast. Today we're going to go over some draft prospects, free agent options, trade scenarios, as well as we're going to update you guys on some of the news with the Sixers because we had a few things that happened recently, and just going to give you guys our thoughts. L, would you like to start it off as far as Embiid's injury? I know everybody's heard about by now. Everybody's heard about Embiid's injury. How do you feel about that right now?
Yeah, let me pull up the report. It was actually pretty shocking to hear exactly what Sham said about it. Because you don't typically hear them talking like about what they were saying. I'm trying to find the exact tweet. Um so apparently they haven't been able to find any options for any quick fixes on his knee situation and the knee pain, and they're considering um the same thing that Lonzo Ball went through, a meniscus transplant.
Mm.
And they're also considering to do something to his hip to offset some sort of balance in his body. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a
Wow.
lot. Mind you, Lonzo Ball had that surgery in 2021 and just came back this year. So,
Well,
Phil, what you think?
to me, I mean, it sounds pretty devastating. I mean, let's just be honest, right? I mean, Embiid is what, 30, 31?
He's 30 right now.
30 years old. Remember Isaiah Thomas, not, Isaiah Thomas Jr., should I say? Or, little Isaiah, IT for the Celtics. They play for the Celtics. I heard him say before that, like, when he caught his hip injury, that like it was hard. It was really hard to come back from, like something dealing with the hip and the meniscus. Like What I'm saying is, I wouldn't prepare for Joel Embiid to be ready for the start of next season. Um,
Season, yeah.
Even if this surgery goes and it's successful and everything works out, we're talking about a long. This sounds like a long recovery time. To get back to basketball shape and be out there. Being able to look like Joel Embiid of old. So I think at this point, it's not good news. It's not.
Uh, yeah, I'd have to agree. It's definitely not good news, um, especially as Embiid is getting older. You know what I mean? Going into his 30s, and I believe it's just, I mean, he's going to have to do a lot more. He's going to have to do a lot more rehab in this time. I think the last couple of years he's always been trying to come back early, and as we have seen, it's been to his detriment. It hasn't helped, and him not being 100% doesn't even really help us in the playoffs. So I think it's I mean, they already took too long to do this. I think he should have been actually took like a year and a half off, kind of like D Rose did.
Mm-hmm.
Except in his situation, he can come back. Like D Rose had a
mhm.
hard time actually coming back to full potential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like Embiid, he has a chance to actually come back and still be able to do some of the same things he was doing. So if he takes 2 years off, I think that could only help him even more, and I think it'll definitely benefit the team because we can start to look into those into new draft prospects, build up some of the younger guys. You know what I mean? If we build up some of the younger guys and get Maxi some help and get some flow and some rhythm with the team, then when Embiid is finally ready, that'll be like a just another major punch. You know what I mean? That we can add. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, I mean, I would for humor's sake, I would rather compare him to when KD was with Brooklyn. Because I mean, I hope it would go more like that. You know, he came back from that Achilles and he was he was cooking. He was probably that was probably like first time he was like probably the best player in the NBA in my opinion. Kevin Durant right off that Achilles. Other than
Okay.
that, it's LeBron since like I was in high school. But that's my opinion. But anyway, I'm just saying that for comparison's sake. You know, Joel really is coming off a 35, and really he was averaging like 36, and the injury
Yeah.
dropped it down. But he's coming off such a unbelievable
Dominating.
season. Yeah, that you kind of
Mhm.
hope, you know, and you know, I guess Durant is a fair comparison. It's just like a hyper efficient, high volume scorer. You kind of hope Embiid just does take that next step. Um, is it within him? I don't know. It's hard to think of anything when you have no scope of what they're gonna do and how long he's gonna be out, and you know, it's
Yeah.
hard to say. But it doesn't look good. It's not promising. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I was just laughing because Durant after the ACL injury thought he was the best player. I would say before. I would say like 2 years before.
When he was in Golden State,
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
don't think he was the best player in the NBA. I
Oh
think LeBron was still clearly better.
oh no. But that's another topic. That's another topic. That's another topic. Nah, like I agree with Lamar. I agree with L. Like it just don't it doesn't sound probably like you said. We don't have really much to go on with. It's just it sounds. What I will say is this, right? I'm gonna trust that the people in that management knows what they're doing, and they're a lot smart. They've been doing this for a long time. But if this was the case, I'm pretty sure they would have been opted to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, with just off a business standpoint, like with the money that they got invested in Joel Embiid, um, the time that they got invested in Joel Embiid, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Business wise, they put a lot of time into this dude, a lot of money into this dude. I would have
Yep.
believed that they would have been opted to do the surgery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it was available. So I don't know. It just sounds it sounds crazy. Like it's a lot kind of like we feel like we're not being told.
Right. There's definitely something that they continue to hide from us because they've hid this all season. We kind of all knew because every time Embiid jumped on the floor, we kind of seen him not really be himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and yeah, I mean the organization has just it sounds like they've been trying to sell tickets. They've been trying to give us hope just to sell tickets. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
And he's barely played any games.
that's true.
Um, but I will say, if he is to come back healthy, I think that he could still like if he is ever able to come back fully healthy, like I think that he can still make some noise because a lot of the all time greats didn't even win their first championships until they were in their 30s. Like
True.
Hakeem Olajuwon, it took him a little while, and then he finally won two back to back. Obviously, yup, and then
Hold on.
go
Hakeem
ahead.
made a finals in his second or third year, but I get what you're saying.
Well, as the guy,
He made a
He
five
was the guy.
in 1985 or 84. I forget what it was. When against the Showtime Lakers and
They
Magic Johnson.
beat Kareem and Magic in the middle of their championship run.
Favorite.
but they didn't win the finals that year, did they?
They lost to the Celtics.
From the West.
Okay.
I would take
And
that. I would take
yeah,
if the Sixers beat somebody as good as Showtime and then lost to a Celtics level team. I'd be like, this is a great season. Like,
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
yeah.
All
But
right,
not to
so
take away from your point, I do agree that that was just not a great comparison. But like I agree with you. Most guys they don't win. Like look at David Robinson. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like one of
mhm,
Hakeem Olajuwon contemporaries. He he didn't even win until he wasn't the best player on his team no more. Like, so
Yeah, he was barely a role player on that team.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? The backup.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, Jordan didn't win his first title until he was 30.
No, he was like 27, I
Yeah,
think.
he was
27, 28.
Yeah.
But I
He
agree
went on that run. But you see what I mean? That's still that age range. And you know, hopefully by that time Embiid will have matured. You know what I mean?
I got another good comparison for you. Although
Go
he
ahead.
went to many conference finals and the finals and lost, Dirk. Dirk went on a run. I think he was like older than Embiid is now in 2011. He's probably like 32, 33 maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And he was a big he was like Dirk was kind of like a playoff choker that also had playoff success. It was kind of
Yeah.
weird. Like he was
I'm a,
both.
can I say something? And this is just my take on it, right? And you know, let's just say this. Loyal. We already a lot of people talk about loyalty. A lot of people talk about things like that. You know, my thing is, I've been watching basketball a long time. I don't think that it's really smart to move off a player as dominant and as talented as Joel Embiid unless you have an absolute reason to. You know what I mean? Injuries, you know, he's never said he doesn't want to play here. He's never like made it seem like he doesn't want to play. He's always embraced the city. He's always, you know, pretty much said all the politically correct things.
Yep.
As an organization, I think that they're at the point where like, look, we signed him. He's the face of the franchise. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, right now, I think they're just like, you know, they had some things set for what they was planning on doing this year. And I think right now, if they sit back and just kind of like tread water until he comes back healthy, who knows?
Yep.
Who knows? But I guess that's gonna lead us until we talk about that.
Yep. Yep. All right. So to move on from that, we also got more injury news. Veteran guard Eric Gordon is undergoing wrist surgery, so he's also going to be done for the season. Phil, how do you feel about that, Phil?
Like, I mean, he was a horrible sign. I mean, at the time it looked good on paper, but he's done nothing. Like, I mean, like nothing. Like, I mean, nothing. Like, I mean, he's 6'3". I didn't like it from. I'm gonna be honest with you. In the summer when they were, you know, signing free agents, I was like, the backcourt is just extremely too small. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Eric 6'3", he can shoot, and on paper, like I said, on paper it looks good. Like, I thought we should have got Eric Gordon 2 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like now at this point, it's what the Sixers do. Like, you know, you sign Eric Gordon when he's absolutely finished. And
too late. Yeah,
6 years old with a wrist injury. Meaningless. It doesn't mean nothing. Waste of money.
Hell, how do you feel about that?
I feel like we have Quentin Grimes and Jared Butler and Justin Edwards and Ricky Council and we can put a Dembona in at the shooting guard. I'd rather see that than Eric Gordon at this point. Yeah, so you know, it's a shame. He started off the season shooting really poorly, and then he shot extremely hot. I think he was like 50% for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
So you know, he turned it around. He seems like a good vet, real level-headed. You know, it's a season where it looks like we kind of quit, but for him to start off that horribly and then pick it up, you gotta appreciate that. So, you know, but like I said, we just signed Lonnie Walker. We just traded for Quentin Grimes. We got Lonnie on a 2-year. He's gonna be here next year. Quentin is about to get a long-term deal. Justin Edwards about to get a long-term deal.
Yeah.
That's what you do when we lose. You lean into your youth. You try to develop them while we lose. And yeah. Get better,
Yeah.
Eric Gordon.
I agree.
I totally agree as well, because as we can see, again, I know I said that in the last episode, but I said that in the last episode, the youth, like that's where the league is trending to. A lot of the all-time great stars, they're on their way out. Let's be honest. In the next 2-3 years, a lot of dudes gonna be on their way out, and you got a lot of speed, athleticism. A lot of these veterans can't, they can't really guard these guys. They can't stay in front of a lot of these guys. I mean, I remember like I was a big fan of Drummond. When we first had him, and like when he was in Detroit and all that, and I liked his rebounding ability, giving the offense a lot of second chance opportunities. But in recent times, and it just he hasn't been able to be a defender. He hasn't been able to rim protect when Embiid was out.
Can I ask you a question? Both of y'all a question?
Yep.
In your opinion, what happened to Drummond? I mean, he completely disappeared this year. Dude, I was watching the game, the Bulls game, and like, bruh, I mean, I'm talking about he playing, bro. The defense was crazy, bruh. Like, I mean, he just sitting there. He just looked like an old man out there, bruh. Like, I mean, it was sad. I don't know why he's still getting. I guess they don't have much minutes. They got to give somebody got to get the minutes. You know what I'm saying? But and he don't look good at all, bro. Like he don't look good. He was signed to when Embiid wasn't playing, of course, to be his backup, but also when Embiid's not playing, he kind of like keep us in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't done that at all. Like I mean, actually, I think we've been worse when he's been on the floor. If you look at the thing, when he's not off the floor, it's bad, yo. Like, please get rid of him. I don't even know if anybody will want him the way he's looked this year.
Yeah, that's the sad thing.
Yeah, he's statistically worse than Gershon, who's been out of the NBA since like 2018.
Yeah,
and he's statistically worse than Bona. He has horrible body language. He doesn't seem like he's in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
He barely hustles. When he does hustle, he has a clearly different impact, which is kind of sad because it's like you should just hustle more. We need it clearly. He's not a part of our future, and and that has as much to do with Bona, who is struggling, but he's super young. Yeah, he's not a part of our future.
He's definitely not a part of our future. Not averaging 7.4 rebounds at 31 years old. Hopefully he can reinvent himself, but it's just stuff like that just reinforces the whole notion of us leaning on our youth and going to the guys like Bona, who, yet again, kind of undrafted. Well, not kind of, but he's undrafted. You know what I mean? He comes in.
I think he was like the 41st pick.
41st pick.
Yeah.
He's basically undrafted. No, I'm just kidding. But he's a shot blocking specialist. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When he came in the game and he got an opportunity, he stepped up. He showed us something. Phil, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask a question. So if the plan is to Embiid to get his surgery, wait for him, of course, let him get healthy, let him get back. If that's the plan, then shouldn't it be? I mean, my mentality is, if I'm GM, shouldn't I be thinking right now which players on this roster that's under the age of 25 that I have that's worth keeping? So when Embiid does get healthy and we're ready to roll with that, they may be able, even if, let's just say next year Embiid doesn't play, right? Or maybe he doesn't come back until after All-Star, whatever the case may be, right? Between now and then, wouldn't you want these players to be getting as much playing time as we could get, so they for one, they could be ready to come back, and for two, you can evaluate and see who stays and who goes.
Yep. That's a fact. That's what we should do. Now to move on from that, we also got the Sixers recently played the Bulls. And man, that was a tough one. That was a tough one. How do you guys feel about us going from playing the Nets, having a very close game with the Nets, having a bad start in that game, and then ultimately fighting back a little bit too late and coming up short. And then right after that, we go and play the Bulls and get blown out. And the Bulls aren't even like a super great team right now. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I feel great. I feel great. Look, the only part that sucks is um when I look at Tyrese Maxey, when he first came in the league, I was like, oh, he's super positive. He's gonna, carry the like he's gonna be a spirit in the locker room.
Yeah.
And I understand he's young, he's not the alpha, but I just don't like to see the locker giving up. I thought we had at least a close knit, high energy group of young guys. You know what I mean? Like high energy, high
Mm-hmm.
enthusiasm. That's how they play typically. Like Ricky Council is high energy, stuff like
Athletic.
that. Athletic, right? So, you could just see it looking at their faces and body language, and um, about we talk about development, like how do you develop, and I don't want to go too much off base, but I'll just present this to you guys. A big part of the process that Phil talked about and you talked about, Bruce, of like, what do you do on that in between time with these minutes? You give it to young guys, and um, I want to say it is kind of odd that the team waited so long. Like, um, for them to be so disillusioned about the direction of the team. You know what I mean? Or maybe that's just what they're presenting. Maybe like they've been chalked it and they said, look, let's just try hard and live with the results. And then once it gets tighter towards the end, maybe we could tank. But who knows? But it just kind of seemed like they literally were trying to win all this time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and they really weren't playing the young guys. Like even Jared McCain, who was clearly the rookie of the year, they weren't even playing him when we were 3 and 12. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he had to be the best player on the team to get playing time.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm saying is I'm looking at Nick Nurse. I'm stuck because I really like Nick Nurse, but I don't believe in him. For where we're at and going forward. I have to say that. I don't want to get too much off topic, but if you don't have a good facilitator of development in place, then you get a lot of 50-point blowouts. See, when in the tanking years when it was Hollis Thompson and Jakar Sampson, you don't care if you lose by 50 because they're not a part of the
Right.
plan. But
Right.
last
Right.
night, Quentin Grimes is about to get another big contract, like more than 3 years, 27 million. We'll get
Oh,
into that later. He was playing Jared Butler, who we just traded a first round pick for, albeit heavily protected. He played. So, rookie council, 3 years. So I just don't like to see guys that we actually are invested in terms of assets and future money. I don't like to see them losing like that. You know what I mean? But listen, if we get our good pick and that dude hit and Jared McCain come back, none of it matters because we'll be looking at the whole situation differently. So that's how I view it. That's how you have to view it, as a healthy mindset, based in reality.
um, in my opinion, I agree with you. Number one, but like number two is like you said, they're invested in a lot of the younger players, and like remember we in the last episode we talked about like I mentioned something about when are they gonna have this meeting? Like if I'm the I need to talk to Nick Nurse. Like I'm not asking him. I'm telling him. Like these you have to play these players. You have to play these players. Like you said, you mentioned more. Like you know, we have to. It's not just about evaluating the future and seeing like that. Like we gave up stuff to get these dudes. You know what I mean? So like at this point, we need to know what we're working with.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like I mean, we it's like I'm noticing something about Nurse. It seems like, see, one thing when I look at like a player to evaluate a coach, I look at the chemistry, like the chemistry and the body language of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that game in Chicago the other night, it was bad. It was all it was really bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good for Nurse. That's not good for the Sixers. It ain't good for Dalmari. It ain't good for the development of the player. It ain't good for nobody. Like it's they don't look good, man. Like everything seems off. I don't know. I think it was the Christmas game that threw everybody off because they had that good game and they beat the Celtics and they weren't that far back in the standings, so they maybe thought they kept a run and what I mean, kind of fix yourself up.
Yeah, from what I saw, I would have to agree. Not only was like the body language was bad, it was definitely bad, but what I saw was like there was just no discipline. I mean, at this point in the whole Sixers tenure, this whole season, I mean, nobody was able to really get anything going. The ball wasn't moving. Everybody was making mistakes. Yeah, like everybody was making mistakes all across the board.
What's like hustle? Nothing.
No hustle. Guys taking bad shots. Guys blowing fast breaks. Just like I seen one play where Ricky Council had a fast break.
That was
embarrassing. He literally had like a 3-on-1. Yeah. And he goes up to the defender and he does some weird dump off pass to Oubre. And the whole play just gets fumbled. It was just like, what was that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to kind of look at coaching because, like I'm saying, look at Brooklyn, right? You got a team with no players on it, right? You got like maybe 2-3 tops NBA players on that team, right? And they go out and they play hard every night, and they can't even tank. Like they were supposed to be the worst team in the league. And as of right now, they're still a lottery team, but they're not with it. People were talking about they were going to be like definitely in the mix for the #1 pick. It don't look like they might get like 7-8. They might be like 7-8 worst team. You know, and I contribute that to their coach. You know what I mean? They got a good young coach who they play hard for, who obviously gives them motivation, gives them something to go out there for, and they play. Sixers don't got that. The Sixers don't got that. So you got to look at coaching at this point. Like, and I like Nick Nurse. I think Nick Nurse is a good coach. I think that he's good in certain situations.
Yeah.
Maybe not this one.
Now, how do you how do you feel about basically going into a full-on tank right now? Like, do you fully agree with that? And do you feel like the coach definitely needs to go? Is that the direction we need to do? Completely tank, get rid of the coach?
Well, I think that tank. Okay, so when you say tank, it means like they're doing it on purpose. This team's bad. They're not trying to tank. Like they're losing.
There's an unintentional.
They got beat up the other night, yo. Like that ain't like that was like if it was a boxing match, they got beat up, yo. Like bad. Like they, you know what I'm saying? Like they got beat up. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're getting. It seems like every night they're getting beat up. So I don't think they're trying to tank. They really are. They're out there playing because if they were tanking, Paul George would be sitting. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You see that like when they play Boston, like they they were playing the veterans. Like they had their vets in the game. Like they're not tanking there. They're trying to play. They're just that bad.
I agree. That's crazy.
It's sad. Like they are not like going out there trying to lose. Like I don't think that they're really. I mean, we're going into March.
Yeah. I mean, at one point the game, we were down 50 points. I'm not sure I've ever seen that from a Sixers team before.
From a rebuilding Chicago Bulls team, bro. Like I'm saying, we're not talking about, a top 10 team that they were playing.
Right.
Talking about the Chicago Bulls, who people are thinking like they should be in the Sixers position right now.
Yeah, that's true.
They fighting for the play-in.
Yeah.
And then given how bad everything's going right now, how do you guys feel about the fact that like now that they can't hide Embiid's injury anymore, and we see how badly
yeah, we ain't talk about that.
Yeah. Like they can't because they can't hide that anymore, and we see that currently, statistically, Paul George is having his worst year. The ticket prices are extremely low right now. They're talking about $2 ticket prices. I mean, did you guys have any plans?
$2 too high. $2 too high.
Listen, I'm taking my son to a Blue Coats game before I'd rather go see the Sixers. Like at least the Blue Coats, you might see some of the young talent and see what they can. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good. Like I'll be right on Route 13, going down Wilmington to go check them out before I go down to the Wells Fargo Center to go see the Sixers. I'm serious, yo.
Yeah.
I remember I wanted to go to a game bad this year, but
I did too.
I wanted to go to a game when everybody was healthy though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard to plan for these Sixers games when you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, this guy's playing. Then 50 minutes or 30 minutes before the game, all of a sudden somebody's out.
Yeah, you done spent your money to go see Garcon Yabusele.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got that. It's crazy.
Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, come on, bro. Kyle Lowry. Like, come on, bro.
What's interesting to me is that Reggie Jackson and Paul George were on that Clippers team when they made it to the third round in the West.
No, they never made it to the conference finals.
They did.
They did?
They did.
Yeah.
Oh,
the year that we lost to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Kawhi got hurt, and Paul George and Reggie Jackson kept it going.
They lost to Phoenix.
I forgot about
They lost to Phoenix, and Phoenix lost to Milwaukee.
That's right. I was just thinking they never made it in the Doc Rivers era, but they made it after that. That's right.
It was the first year with Ty Lue.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
First year.
A good coach, a very good coach.
Hey, I was interested in Ty Lue. I don't know why. I don't know why Elton Brand didn't immediately go for that. Remember he immediately pulled the trigger.
He did. I remember. Joel didn't want it.
Oh man, what?
Ben wanted us to get Ty Lue. They're both clutch, but Joel blocked it. Oh, this was a rumor. But
talk about
it was a pretty, like, the way they presented it was like, yeah, it has to be somebody neutral. It can't be, somebody that might be biased towards Ben. That was the thing. So that's why we didn't get Ty Lue.
I just want to ask you a quick question.
And he wanted to come here too.
Oh wow, we missed that. How do y'all feel about front offices using taking a lot of input from the players in making decisions? Because the front office is supposed to be the brains of everything. The players are supposed to do their job. How do you guys feel about just how do you feel about that? How do you feel about them taking too much input from the players?
I don't like it at all. But let's go back to this, right? In the 90s, you had the greatest basketball player. I read a quote, something that Patrick Ewing said the other day about Michael Jordan. He was talking about the GOAT conversation. And he said that, and what he said kind of killed it. It killed the whole GOAT conversation because it made the most sense. He said when Michael Jordan played in the NBA, nobody ever questioned the ratings. LeBron right now, the ratings are down. You understand what I'm saying? So he was like that. That right there proves your point. Like who's great. My point is though, when Jordan in the '90s, when the Bulls were dominant and everybody was playing, and they had Phil Jackson, they Michael criticized a lot of things about management, but he let them do their job. You know what I'm saying? His job was to do what he was supposed to do on the court. Their job was to put the pieces around them to let him do his thing, which they did.
Yeah.
Never heard Michael going out and publicly saying, he wants this coach. He doesn't want that coach. He doesn't want. And look what it brought: success. You know what I mean? Because you let people do their jobs. You know what I mean? Everybody has a job. You let them do their job. I don't like it. I mean, nothing's going to change because that's just the NBA. You know what I mean? The players run it, and the owners and everybody else cater to them. But I think it's hard. I think it's bad, and that's why you got a lot of stuff going on now because you got to let people do their job, like a GM, a vice president, an owner. That's what they're there for. That's their job. Your job is to do what you're supposed to do on the court and be ready to play. So I don't like it at all, personally.
How do you feel about that?
If my franchise player is Shaq, I'm not having that conversation. But if it's Nikola Jokic, I'm not making that choice without him. And that's just the reality of and you can kind of apply that on different levels, like working at different jobs, You got sometimes, you got people that are very exceptional in performance, not great leaders per se. Not very aware, but I mean, and I'm not trying to disrespect Shaq, but when I think about a player that, you know, might not, might lead you in a direction to make like a crazy move, based on a whim or not based in, the reality of the game. So it all depends. It's like, you might have two kids, right? And you know, one of them pee in the bed till they're 15, and the other one start changing their own diapers when they was 2. So
Yeah.
which one of them you're not which one of them is you gonna ask like whose bed is wet? Like you're going to chill like that. So with that being said, like you know uh not to go against what you said, but just to add a devil's advocate. Um, if so I kind of agree with the players taking more charge. I think that the context matters though, because someone like LeBron, who, mind you, like most people can't even name like most of his team his first time in Cleveland. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they know he
Right,
didn't
right,
win. But they know he didn't win. You see what I'm saying?
right.
They might not know who the coach was, and they might not know who the GM was or who the owner is. You know what I'm saying? But when they in the memory, it's like LeBron lost, and he almost won, but he couldn't get it done. That's how some people can remember it. And when you see that and you live that, it does kind of make you want to take destiny into your own hands because, for all intents and purposes,
Yeah.
Cleveland could have hired a Phil Jackson level coach. They could have
Yeah.
they could have had a they could have found a Jerry Krause level GM. They could have found free agents like Dennis Rodman, that just add them at the right time and they super important. Or they could have
Ron
drafted
Harper.
players like and Ron Harper, right? Veteran Ron
Yeah.
Harper. They could have drafted because see, like Chicago actually drafted was it BJ Armstrong,
Cool coach.
Pippen, Kukoc, and Grant.
Grant.
You know what I mean? And these
Wow.
is
And Luke
dudes that
Longley.
and these is dudes like Kukoc and Grant. They was going to other teams having success. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Pippen was going to other teams. So
Yeah.
They 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 if you put a team like that around me, I'm gonna shut up. But if you're giving me shit, then I'm just gonna carry anyway. Like it don't even matter. Like you can switch it up and mix it up and so the context is different. But the reality is like you got other guys who try to play that role and it don't really fall on them like that, and they just end
Mhm.
up moving around all the time, and it's like and it takes away from the game. So the context is different. If you're LeBron and a Durant, you should be like super duper in control of and purposeful with where you go. But then honestly, it's a lot of guys on that level under that move around a lot, and I think that's what people have a real distaste for.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I agree because like in every other sport, like let's give example in NFL, if you hire an offensive coordinator, you want him to be comfortable with your quarterback, don't you? I mean, if you got a
yep,
franchise
yeah,
quarterback, you want the right offensive coordinator to help groom him and help, that help lead to your success. So
hmm,
I think input is one thing, but flat out them making the decision, like, either sign this dude or not, that's when I don't like it, because now it's like you're telling, now you're running stuff. Like what am I here for? Like what am I the GM for? What am I the vice president for? If you do, you
yep,
know what I'm saying? Like it's a difference in input and straight up hire this dude or trade me. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
hmm
it's 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 a difference with that, and that's what they do though. That's what that's what a lot of NBA players. I believe that there are players who have done that. I mean, we it's been done here with Allen Iverson. Iverson did it. He
mm,
said it. He told management that if you don't get rid of what was his O'Brien, what was it, Jim O'Brien, when he took over,
mm,
and Iverson hated him.
Coach.
He said if you don't get rid of him, I'm out of here. Like you can get rid of, I won't play. It was that bad. You know what I'm saying?
hmm.
So yeah, nah, I don't agree with that. Like you see where that how that worked out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would say, like, I view somebody like LeBron as a very smart player, very high IQ player, and I would expect him to know who he could succeed with. Uh, when they said that he had a lot of input on his team's management picking up Russell Westbrook, and
Mm-hmm.
then we saw how both of them really didn't fit. Like what I mean, it really didn't work out, especially because when you go to a LeBron James led team, a lot of people kind of get caught standing around and having to become catch and shoot guys. Russell Westbrook was nowhere near a catch and shoot guy, and that was never even what made him successful. So it's like, I don't know, when I see
And that
something
was his
like,
choice.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, when I
And he
see something
traded
like
the
that,
perfect player that was a catch and shoot dude. They got rid of a dude that would help him win, who helped him get a championship, in Kyle Kuzma. You get rid of Kyle
yeah,
Kuzma to
yeah,
bring in a name that don't even fit, and you never play like that was the like that made no sense to
He
me.
fell for a big name. Yeah.
You
mm,
know,
So here's one thing I want to say is a devil's advocate though, right?
mm-hmm,
So if you guys remember the year that they traded Russ at the deadline, remember LeBron wanted them to trade for Kyrie, right?
yeah,
When Kyrie was getting traded from Brooklyn.
yeah,
And so LeBron was basically telling them, all right, look, like let's pivot off of Russ and get Kai from Brooklyn.
yeah, yeah,
And at that point, and this is where because like y'all saying, it's a fine line. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
But so let's use we established that LeBron wanted them to move off of Westbrook and get Kai. Let's use hindsight. That year they trade Russ. They make the Western Conference Finals.
yep,
uh-huh,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And the next year, Kyrie is fully healthy, and the Mavs make it to the finals.
mm,
And so, in hindsight, there was going to be some overlap. Because think about D'Angelo Russell, right? Great player,
Mm-hmm.
But you replacing that production with Kyrie, who clearly was like a prime co-star level player still, especially in the playoffs. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
Um, and so you kind of think like, what could have happened from a LeBron perspective? Like y'all probably should have made the Kyrie trade. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's a situation where the front office probably missed on a championship or a finals appearance.
Yeah.
Um, because they didn't listen to their player because they were bitter off a previous move. So it's like you got to find that fine line, and you also. So I understand that the Lakers hired a lot of different coaches, but they always rock with Pelinka. They had Pelinka this whole time.
Yeah.
Good
Mm.
trade, bad trade, they still got Pelinka. So if you're not gonna fire your GM and you're not gonna actually trade LeBron, you might as
Mm-hmm.
well. There's an intersection there. Like go in on these moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Because now those Lakers picks don't have as much value as they did.
no, they
Um,
don't.
and LeBron is older, so
Yeah. Well, see,
Yeah.
here's the thing with that too. Just touch on that like point one time. Um, when you say yeah, they might have missed, but at that time too, you got to also remember Kyrie. It was a lot of it was a lot of off the court stuff too that they wasn't probably too sure on. Like with Kyrie, you don't really
Yeah.
at that time you didn't really know what you was going to get. You don't know if this dude was going to just up and just say, you know what, I'm about to go and be a Buddhist monk somewhere and just don't even play bad. And he was really on that type time. Like it was like one thing after another. First he didn't want to get vaccinated. Then it was just always something with Kyrie around that time. So if I'm management too, I'm a little leery about what I'm giving up to get a guy that I don't know really where his headspace is at. I would have probably had to have a meeting with him, talk to his head, like sit down. I would have to have a sit down before I pulled that trigger at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Great
I mean,
points. Great points.
Look, the Mavs did it, and they went to the finals.
True.
The
True,
Mavs
because
took the
How
gamble.
about
Like,
that? How
sometimes
about
listen,
that? That's another
we've
great
seen it.
point.
Listen, but here's the thing, Mark. We've seen that backfire before too. How many times have we seen our GM Daryl Morey when he was with the Rockets go big game hunting,
Yep.
trying to start PJ Brown at the center? You know what I mean? All these weird things
yeah.
to try to
Wow.
Robert Covington.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
and it didn't work out. So sometimes that gun ho mentality do work, like you said, when the Mavs, they say, look, man, but but here's the thing, look what they gave up. You know what I'm saying? At that time, it looked like Brooklyn was just trying to get rid of Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't really give up much to get him. But I hear what you're saying. You're right. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a gamble.
I guess the front office would have to you'd have to be smart enough to know if the input that you're getting from your player is good input or not. Like
Like Mar
if
said, who's the player? Who's
exactly,
giving
exactly.
the input? LeBron, for as great as he is, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Lamar said, there's levels to this, right? For as
Yeah.
great as LeBron is, I had a friend of mine tell me this years ago. This was back in like 2018 to 2019 when when he was still on the Cavs. No, it's 2018. Last time they went to the playoffs when they had matter of fact, it might have been 2017 when they went to the finals against Golden State and they picked up right towards the end of the season Darren Williams. And my friend
Oh yeah.
he said to me,
2017.
you know what he said? He said LeBron is the worst at picking up players. And I said, why you say that? He said, because think about it. When Jordan picked up players, they always won and they always fit. He said LeBron picks up Darren Williams. And look how that worked out. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
LeBron is really not the good evaluator of who he brings in all the time. For as great as he is, for as hard working he is, for who he is. So there's levels to this.
I wanna add to that too. I wanna add to that because my biggest criticism of LeBron, right? So think about it like this: the ultimate NBA Iron Man. I'm talking about preseason to finals.
Mm-hmm.
He's always healthy when you need him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the co-stars he's picked. Dwayne Wade, who's one of the most injured superstars in NBA history, and not only
Yeah.
that, he lost multiple levels of athleticism like 4 times in his career due to injury.
Yeah.
Chris Bosh, who had to retire, Bosh had to retire because of blood clots.
Yeah.
Kyrie, another Dwayne Wade. I
Mhm.
mean, less reliant on athleticism, but definitely injury prone as fuck.
They're very injury prone. Even
Yeah.
when he was with
Yep.
Cleveland.
Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You gave up
Kevin
a whole
Love.
number 1 pick. You gave up a whole number 1 pick.
Right.
Yeah. Kevin Love.
Kevin Love, super injury prone. He was and he was just a reduced. That was a horrible decision altogether. And then Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
a
yeah,
lot of
no,
injury
yeah.
proneness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. You like for someone who is like, I can get to the finals every year.
Mhm.
It's like, why don't you pick a nigga? I'm sorry, pick somebody 1 level down that's gonna definitely be healthy, as opposed to going for the home run when they're definitely not gonna be healthy every year.
Hey,
Like,
yo.
why do you do that?
Right,
Like,
You know
right.
what?
it
I
doesn't
think
make sense to me. But
mentally, a lot of things.
I agree, not the best picker, not the best picker.
Yeah, because mentally, I was just thinking about something when you mentioned Kevin Love real quick, right? Let me just touch on it real quick. Kevin Love on paper fits LeBron like the glove. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
How about that?
How come when he got with LeBron, everything just fell apart? Like mentally, it's like he wasn't there. Remember, he even said it. He had to go see a psychiatrist and like he got on meds and all types of stuff. Like I don't know if just the pressure of playing with LeBron and just the spotlight of playing. Remember, he came from a bad Minnesota team where he was putting up numbers on that team. I used to love Kevin Love when he was on a Minnesota team. Like great player, great
all-star,
good defender, could shoot. He did everything you want him to do. But as soon as he went to Cleveland, got around play, got on a good team and got on player, it's like he fell apart. You know what I'm saying? And people don't realize it's stressful being in them type predicaments and being in them type, situations. So not everybody built for that.
I mean, I have a quick opinion on that. Going back to the 2018 finals, like right after that finals, Rodney Hood, he had made a statement that it was hard to play with LeBron because, LeBron does have a ball in his hands and you watch him go to work and then you just got to be ready to catch and shoot. I think that somebody like Kevin Love, when he was with Minnesota, he was used as a primary scorer a lot more often. Like I remember I went back and watched some old Kevin Love highlights. And I'm like, well, what was he doing that was so different than the Cavs version? Because he's not, it wasn't the same level of production.
He was borderline all NBA, or he might have.
He was all NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when he was with Minnesota, like he was
first team. He was the best power forward in the NBA.
He was averaging like 23 points, 12 rebounds. He was giving. He was a
so he had a 20 and 15. 20 and 15 was his breakout year. I think his best year was like 26 and 13.
Wow.
Yep. I think LeBron just put certain players, he takes the ball out of their hands maybe a little too much, because the 2-man game with him and Kyrie was working so well. I guess that you kind of almost, I don't know, like he just finds himself in the corner becoming a spot up 3-point shooter when in reality he could be a lot more aggressive than that. So and then that's why, to bring it all back to Embiid trying to make a decision for the coach. When Embiid, nothing against Embiid's intelligence, but his level of well, I guess I kind of am about to attack his intelligence a little bit. I think that his level of IQ, he can't make that kind of decision.
Play 70 games in a season and come in the training camp in shape, and then maybe I'll listen to your opinions on who the coach should be.
That's what I'm saying. He's not qualified to make that decision. I mean, the only thing I will give him, he was smart enough to know that we should have kept Jimmy Butler. So maybe something like
But hold on, was he smart enough to make the franchise keep Jimmy Butler? Like
they would have.
Like so that's look. That's like if I see if it's a stove next to me that's about to explode, right? I know that I should turn the button off.
Right.
But if I didn't turn the button off I'm dead. So like, whether you knew it or not doesn't matter. Did you act on it? He went on Twitter and he said some shit and he threw a little shade, but there was no report saying like He crashed out trying to get Jimmy to stay. That's all I gotta say.
So real quick on
Fact.
that, right? On that note, just to touch on that, right? So supposedly, and this is coming from, I've heard this before. This was actually about 2 years ago when I heard this, that the Sixers did everything that they supposedly could do to re-sign Jimmy Butler that year. Jimmy Butler didn't want to stay here. That was the reports that most
Okay.
that we was getting. It was Jimmy. It wasn't the Sixers. Jimmy didn't want to be here, like for whatever reason, whether it was he just didn't like Philly or the fact of, I believe it was maybe Ben Simmons, like, you know what I mean, at the time. Like I just Jimmy Butler is, from all reports, is, a very aggressive type dude who, I guess, that don't rub off too good on everybody. And Ben Simmons come across to me as a softie, probably, you know what I'm saying? And at the time, it was Joel and Ben's team at that time. You know what I mean? And Jimmy Butler I probably just didn't think he wanted to fit in with that at that time. Maybe with Steve, but not with Ben.
Well, we remember Jimmy Butler when he was on JJ Redick's podcast. Remember, he made that statement. He actually said something that a lot of us have always kind of been thinking. He came at the front office. He came at the coaching staff. He said that from his experience, when he would go in on a day-to-day to go to practice and go over game plans, he said it seemed like nobody knew what they were doing. He seemed like it just, from the top to bottom, nobody exactly knew what they were doing. But to kind of respond to him not wanting to be here, we got to look at, after the Heat defeated us. What year was that? Shit, man, I'm kind of forgetting right now. But
2022.
Remember he said after eliminating us, he was like, Tobias Harris over me. He said Tobias Harris over me.
That was crazy.
Oh man,
he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to say that.
He meant that shit too. He meant that shit, man. He meant that.
But all right, now moving on. Now we can get into let's get into more of the whole tanking thing. Let's go into some prospects. If we do land that top 6 pick and we get to keep the pick, I want you guys to go into who are some of the guys that are impressing you in college in that top 6, in those top 6 slots. Who's impressing you? Who do you think can help? And how do you think those guys will fit? Go ahead, Al. You can go first on this one.
Well, obviously Cooper. I mean, who is the starting power forward on the Sixers? Kelly Oubre right now. So
yeah,
if we could turn that into, and you know what? So let me not make fun of Kelly, because I've been like subliminally just negative towards Kelly in the group chat, and because I don't like him. But the reason Kelly starts is because he's kind of like a forward with a good athleticism. Defense supposed to be defensively oriented, and stuff like that. And that is kind of what you want in that spot. You obviously want a little more size than somebody like 6'6", 6'7". So I think the natural fit to our current core, Cooper Flag is a great fit. He's like kind of like a Draymond Green in that he's a athletic off-ball help defender, very good at that. Probably not comparable on ball, because they put Draymond at the 5. I ain't saying you put Flag at the 5. You really play Flag at your 3 or your 4.
Tweener.
Yeah, he's a tweener, and at 6'9", 6'10", he's got good size. He's only 18. He just turned 18. He right now we're the worst defense in the NBA. And part of that is because 2 of our best defenders are in and out of the lineup. That's Paul George and Joel Embiid. So going forward, like, just being realistic, we're talking about prospects. They're going to play next year. So if all things stay the same, we're probably gonna have a more consistently healthy like Maxi McCain Grimes as your impact players. So he would play in between them as a 3-4.
Yep.
He would have a good defensive impact, a lot of energy, athleticism, um, and with the potential to be the best player on the team in some years. So he would be my top pick if the top prospect to add to the Sixers and probably every other team.
Besides, I mean, of course, we know what Cooper Flag brings. Everything Mar said was right. He reminds me of like a prime, actually, I would say a little bit outside of his prime, Blake Griffin, when he actually learned how to shoot. That
In
offensive,
Detroit.
yeah, offensively, that's who he.
Yeah, I could see. I like that big
Yeah,
forward with
yeah,
the skills. Yeah,
exactly, athletic. You know what I'm saying?
athletic, right?
That's kind of where his game's at right now. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like you said, Marv mentioned the best thing. He's only 18 years old. He's gonna grow.
He just turned 18 during the season too.
Yeah, come on. Like we know what so we know what he brings. Outside of that, you got a lot of different prospects. I mean, everybody looks good. Dylan Harper. I don't know about Bailey. I mean, he's still young, and like I said, you never know with these kids. But even outside of the top three that we keep hearing everybody talk about, this is a pretty good draft.
Oh yeah.
You have some players that will, that can play, and I mean, got some real big upside. We were talking earlier about the kid from Texas.
Oh yeah, Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson. Just a dog. Just your prototypical right now. Your prototypical NBA 2-3.
Yes.
Right now,
yep.
like his game and it's developing. It's still developing. In the right situation, he could be a stud. VJ Edgecombe is a player. He does a lot of different things. I don't know if him and Maxey necessarily fit too good in the backcourt because you gotta remember McCain's gonna come back too. I think McCain could be a six-man, like it could be a potential 6-man of the year.
Yep, I agree.
That his game just translates 6-man, like microwave scoring, off the bench, just freelance distributing, scoring like he do pretty much everything. So you got to remember them too, and they're small guards, so you kind of want somebody who could play in between them, play with both of them. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at if you can't get Flag, I think that you get the best player available, of course. But I would think the Sixers would be looking at the best wing player available, the best big wing. That's what they need. They need a big wing. That's what they thought they were signing with Paul George. But that's a whole nother topic. Right now, we're talking about the future. And the future in this draft, of course, if we hold the pick, which we will, is the big, you want to get a big, strong, athletic wing.
Yes. Yep.
He can shoot and play some D.
Yeah, I agree. I like you guys' picks. For me, I kind of wouldn't mind having like somebody like a Dylan Harper, really big point guard who can pass. He's not necessarily a pure floor general, but he can do some things, and he can give you like 6 to 8 assists a night. I think next to Maxey, because Maxey's also not necessarily a pure point guard, much more of a scorer. I look at that as possibly an option to have him at the 1 and put Maxey at the 2 and let Maxey just go off and do his thing. And maybe they could complement each other. But if we couldn't get that, I also like what you mentioned with Trey Johnson. Again, big guard. He's 6'6". Right now he's 184 pounds, but once he grows into that grown man body, and he gets a lot, he gets a lot stronger.
Yes, man.
That's also going to give us just more size in the front court. Because right now, I know everybody likes that McCain and Maxey, that whole combo. And it is great. It is a great scoring punch, but I think we need some more. We need some more size.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say something real quick. Sorry to cut you off. Yo, listen, right? When we talking about, you know, the thing is this. Whoever's available, I mean,
Yeah.
the Sixers got to go for best player available.
Available.
You know what I mean? At this point, you know, because you really don't know what the future holds. Really, at this point, you know what I mean? Well, it's all speculation. It's like, okay, they're gonna do their due diligence on Embiid. I really don't see any scenario where they try to keep Paul George if Embiid is not ready to play at the beginning of next season.
Right.
Because you see that we haven't gotten into that trickle down effect from Embiid having this surgery. Because Paul, like, they didn't bring Paul George here to be on because let's be realistic. If you don't have Joel Embiid by the start of next season and possibly going in, let's say Embiid may not be ready to play till at the earliest after All-Star break next year, right? And the Sixers are still a team pushing for the play-in spot. I don't care who they draft. I don't care what they like with the way they stand right now. Tweaking the core, whatever the case may be. Right now, they're still they'll hope to make the play in next year. So that's not what Paul George was signed for. So with that being said, I believe that they would consider trades for Paul George. I really don't see a scenario where they try to keep him here if Embiid's not playing like next year. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like that's why I'm saying we really don't know what the future holds with Embiid or with the Sixers right now. So at that point, your reason is I need the best player available.
Yeah. I'd have to agree on that. I mean, it seems like all the guys within the top six could probably fill some holes for us. You know what I mean? Even listen, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I kind of like the potential for Ace Bailey only because he's like how tall is he? Ace Bailey, he's 6'10", 200 pounds. He's a great, difficult shot maker. He does have a lot of development, so we do got to take that into account. We're going to need a coach we're going to need a coaching staff and a training staff that can actually develop some other parts of his game. But if we do get rid of Paul George, I still feel like we're going to need kind of like how Denver has that third option that we don't really have right now. They got Michael Porter Jr. And if he's not balling, they got Westbrook, and those guys are doing great. I kind of want to make sure that we can replace that third option when things when things get sticky in the playoffs, and they're going to double Maxey, and they're going to double Embiid and make him start throwing bad passes or force him to give it to somebody else. They're going to leave somebody open, and I wouldn't mind having another elite scorer if we could get one.
Well, Mark, can I ask you a question? What do you think? Because you hear with B talking, and it makes sense. You're not if let me if we were to trade Paul George, right? You're not going to get peanuts for him. I don't see Daryl Morey trading Paul George for nothing. It was mentioned. I was reading some reports about Kevin Durant. Okay, so you'd have to trade Paul George to get KD. All right, let's say that. Now, aside from future assets, because I believe Maury's smarter than that. He's not going to give up current. It'll be future assets. I really don't want to get rid of that Clippers pick, not for Kevin Durant. Not really for anybody because that's going to be a valuable pick. But let's say if you were to do that, what do you think the market for Paul George is this summer?
That's a good question.
Well, he's around my age.
Yeah.
And he's having the thing about a long career is that I think he's in his 15th year and the second worst year of his career. So the optics on it are not good, but what I can say and present to you is if you look at OKC and how they do their soft rebuilds.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take into account that Embiid, like let's say, like you said, Embiid might miss a year or two, I actually think we should sit on Paul George and take the best deal. When it comes, similar to
Yeah,
when
it'll be more
like
like
like like when OKC had traded Danny Green and then
mhm.
Al Horford. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? End up getting good picks for him and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
If Embiid if
I figure
Embiid's
if
not
we're doing a mini rebuild, why not?
if Embiid's not ready for the start of next season, and you know he's most likely won't play. If he doesn't, let's just say the injury, you know, he gets the surgery, and they saying, you know, look, it's now it's recovery time, whatever the case may be. Um,
Mhm.
my question is, I believe that the best trade you'll get for Paul George will be All Star break next year, not before the season.
Right. Let
You
him
know what I'm
recoup
saying?
some
So it would
value.
make sense to hold on and sit on him because that would be the time that you would make the deal for him, would be closer to the All-Star break, not before the season begins.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to find a deal that you probably would want or that makes sense for anybody before
Right.
then.
I mean, would you guys trade him for just assets alone?
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to take back some money, some bad contracts, but I mean,
If we
yeah,
drafted a wing, especially if we draft a star wing,
oh yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, oh definitely, definitely.
But to receive assets for a 30-year old or 34-year-old that is on a bad like this is a Tobias Harris like in the new
Mm-hmm.
CBA, this has potential to be a Tobias Harris level contract. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah,
no one wants it and there's no way for it to have value. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right, right.
Unless he doesn't have the worst shooting splits he's had since 2012. But you know, that just it has to happen. He has to shoot well, and he got to go on a 2 month tear where he averaging 25. And then in that scenario, someone might offer us assets, but
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, it's like for 50 million, we probably have to give at least two first round picks to get off of Paul George,
Mm-hmm.
or like we'd have to trade McCain with him to get off him. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
because
a
I mean, what team,
valuable asset.
you look at it like, no, what team would he's look what he's doing. Like, I mean, they're only will be looking at the Paul George of old. They wouldn't be looking at what
Yeah.
value he brings right now, and that's not a good thing. But once again, this is the boat that the Sixers have found themselves in, that they always seem to find themselves in, no matter what.
Yeah.
It is what it is. The only way, like I said, this could be salvaged, or I look at like, okay, maybe something good came out of this, is if we end up with the number one pick in the draft this year. That would be crazy. But anything other than that, it's just like, this is just like it's the same old sad song that you see all the time, man. Just they just picked the wrong person.
I'd like to get your thoughts also on uh, who are you guys prioritizing to keep on the team next year? Like who do you definitely want to bring back? Because I know El, you said you're not necessarily the biggest fan of Oubre anymore, or I don't know if you ever were, but you got Oubre, we got Yabusele. We know there's going to be a market for him. Uh, Quinn Grimes, we see him as a guy who's playing comparable to Paul George, if not better than Paul George. Uh, you know, we got some players. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Who do you guys really want to bring back?
Y'all want me to go down the list?
Yeah,
Yes.
kick it off. Kick it off.
All right, so we're not talking about Embiid, PG, and Maxi, right?
No.
No.
Okay, all right. Kelly Oubre next year has a player option for a little over 8 million. Uh do you guys want to keep Paul George? I'm sorry, what the hell am I talking? Do you guys want to keep Kelly Oubre?
No, I don't think. I think that you'll find his replacement in the draft. If you're gonna go younger, if you're in a mini rebuild like situation, why would you keep Oubre? It doesn't even make any sense. He's better served on a team that's trying to make the play in or the playoffs, like or has different goal. You know what I'm saying? You can find that type of player for a lot cheaper. You know what I'm saying? If you're on a rebuild and you want to develop. So I don't see a 30-something-year-old Kelly Oubre. I don't see where he'll be helping this team per se. Because if you don't have Joel Embiid playing, your goal is not to win games. Period. Your goal is only to win if you have your stars intact and you're ready to play. So with that being said, I wouldn't. I don't think Oubre. I really don't even think Yabu Seli like is kind of, like I like him. Don't get me wrong. I like his game, but if I'm man, if
we'll get there.
Remember, huh?
Yeah, we'll get the Gershon. We'll get the Gershon. Yeah, we're gonna go down the list because I got some comments to him. All right, so Bruce, Kelly Oubre. So remember, this year we traded Caleb Martin, who makes about the same as what Oubre's gonna make. Next year he's an $8 million expiring contract because he's probably gonna opt into that, John. So Bruce, you want to keep Kelly L?
You know what? Honestly, after the way Phil just worded all that, when you consider all those factors, I'm gonna have to say no. I'm not. I'm not prioritizing keeping him. You know what I mean?
You're out on KL? Yeah. Especially
And
with the
don't get me
development
wrong,
of all these new wings too, right?
Yeah, Justin
That's
Edwards.
what I'm saying.
Like, I'd rather see Justin Edwards get his minutes. Like, you know what I mean? Or Ricky Council at this point. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking Oubre. I just think like his time has been served on his team. It's time to move on.
Yeah. All right, who's next?
All right, let's go down the list. Bruce, Andre Drummond, player option for $5 million. So I hope you guys are thinking now we got about 13 million in expiring contracts from Drummond and KO. So Bruce, do you want to keep Andre Drummond? Yes or no? Quick, yes or no?
Absolute no. Absolute no. We ain't even got to expand on that. Y'all saw the Bulls game.
Yeah, absolutely not. Like
Phil,
the only
yes or no on Drummond?
Absolutely not. But like the only thing that like I would, like you said, consider like keeping them for is like you said the expiring contract and see if you could try to move that like contract, a trade or something to try to get something, some type of whatever you can back from it. But anything other than that, absolutely not.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, he's been a pretty big disappointment. We talked about it a little bit earlier on the show, but he's been a pretty big disappointment. All right, next up on the list. So this is one that gets a little bit complicated. So next up on the list is Quentin Grimes. He's been traded quite a few times, but he's established himself as a good NBA player.
Yep.
Last year, which was the end of his third year in the NBA, the Pistons tried to re-sign him for about 3 years, 27 million. So a similar contract to what we did with Caleb Martin, just a year shorter. So it seems like he's looking for more than 9 million a year. So considering we had just paid Caleb about 8, we paid Kelly 8. Phil, you want to keep Quentin Grimes?
Absolutely. I think that he fits the team. He fits the team timeline either way. Whether we go, whether Embiid comes back healthy and he's ready to go, we could plug him right in. He's a good defender, comes off the bench. He could start. He could do whatever. Like you know what I'm saying? You can plug him right in. Or even if we go in the full rebuild mode, you know what I'm saying? He fits both modes. Young player.
24 years old.
Yeah. He's definitely a keeper in my opinion.
Gotcha. So Bruce, before you go, if he turned down 9 million a year, he could be. So I believe the space that we offered for Gershon, we actually could do for Grimes too, because we have his bird rights. So he could go as high as 4 years, 60 million. What's that, about 15 million a year? This is what we could be potentially looking at. So what do you think about keeping Grimes?
I mean, Yeah, I'm still in on Grimes because again, if we're gonna still have Paul George, we know Paul George's history of being injury prone.
Yeah.
It like when he gets injured, you got somebody like Quentin Grimes who, in a lot of ways, has been playing better than Paul George. Uh, Quentin Grimes is actually not having the best. He's not having the worst year of his career. I think I see he's averaging 46.3% from field goal, 46.3 field goal percent, 2.3 assists, 10.8 points, 24 years old, and he can play defense. I'm in.
I agree.
All right,
All right.
who's next?
Next on the list. Well, it says Jared McCain, but we're obviously
Already know
keeping
where
him.
you
Yeah.
But one. So let's just do a quick thing on Jared McCain. So um, early in the year, we were destroyed with injuries, and this guy in his first few starts and first 100 minutes of playing, you could make an argument, and there was a lot of talk about this on Twitter, that him as a primary guard was more conducive to winning than even Maxi is at a more developed point in his career. So, Phil,
hmm
where do you want to go with McCain forward? Do you want to put him as a primary starter offensive engine, or do you want to play him in a different role?
I want him to get healthy, number one. And then once he gets healthy, we're just gonna let this team just go. Like wherever that's where I want to see the six do it. I want to see a coach, whether it's Nick Nurse, whoever comes in, that's gonna have that type of mentality. Like, look, let's just see what we got. Like, let's just let them play. Like, let's just, let's try different line. Let's try some, let's try some McCain as the lead ball handler and seeing where that goes. Let's see
Yeah.
some lineup, some mix and match lineups of this, that, and the third. Let's have some fun with this team. Let's just play some defense. Let's play hard. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
exciting. I don't care if we win games or not, but let's just go out there and like give some flashes or something. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
want to see out of this team, out of
All
McCain.
right. All right, so Bruce, we spent a lot of time in the group chat dissecting every single thing that Jared McCain did
Yeah.
from the moment he got in the preseason until he got injured. Um, some of your thoughts on his rookie year and how do you see him being used going forward?
Well, we obviously saw he definitely showed flashes. I mean, for a nice span of time, he kind of took over the team, and he damn near carried us. I don't know how we were getting carried by a rookie, but he carried us, and
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it. But just off the strength of again, my biggest concern is that we don't want we don't want that backcourt being too small. I kind of like to use this example from our group chat where you were the first guy to point this out that Maxi could be used like a Steph Curry, great 3-point shooter, especially if guys start screening for him more. Right now, at his size, this is why I brought up somebody like Dylan Harper because look how Steph Curry had somebody like Klay Thompson, bigger guard, could defend, could defend all the other top guards. Like I want to have, I'd rather have McCain come off the bench and give us that firepower off the bench
All
as
right.
like that 6 man type role. You know what
That's
I
the
mean?
role. That's the role I like for him.
Just in case, just so we can possibly get like a D&3 guy to
Mm-hmm.
be the shooting guard and to handle some of the defensive responsibilities alongside Maxi in the starting lineup.
And like you said, McCain's so young, he's gonna grow. Like
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can have him come off the bench for the next 3-4 years. And about time he's 23, 24 years old now, he can start. You know what I mean? It's not going.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what
That's
I'm
a
saying?
good
He's a
point.
young player. Like I really like him in the 6-man role. I think that's the best role for him with the team
Yeah.
moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me personally, as far as McCain, I'm a big fan. He's my favorite player on the team. Me personally, I see Joel Embiid's sticky hands with the ball, but I also see what comes natural to him, and I see him losing some of his ability to just generate offense. So,
Yeah.
me personally, I think one method to simplify Joel's role going forward Put him in constant dribble handoffs on offense. Put him with two
Mhm.
guards that are always, able to move the ball, able to make good shots, get to the rim, create and be creative.
Yep.
Um, and just to be a little different. And plus, I'm a big fan of what Cleveland is doing this year with Garland and Mitchell, who their athletic profile's a little bit different, but nonetheless is really exciting.
Mhm.
But I definitely respect the opinion, and I'm excited to see what they do with McCain going forward. All right, next on the list, Bruce, Eric Gordon, out for the season with a wrist injury. Next year has a player option. They just giving out player options to
They have a
everybody.
player option for him.
Player option, yeah. And now it's only 3 million, but again, this is we're in a range of expiring contract. We got 8 million, 5 million. Okay, so 17 million in expiring contracts between Kelly O, Andre Drummond, and Eric Gordon. So Bruce, you want to keep EG or you want to ship him off with a 3 player deal?
Listen, listen. I'm gonna keep it quick. 36 years old. Just got just got wrist surgery. Uh, it's gonna be a no for me.
A shooter,
It's gonna be a
a
no for me.
shooter.
Doesn't matter.
Shooter,
He's a
36 year
shooter.
old
He's a
shooter got
shooter.
wrist injury.
Yeah, yeah, he does me no good. He can just go back to wherever he came from.
Yeah, so very good for him that at age 37 he's gonna make $3.4 million and probably not even play majority of the season.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list.
He'll be traded, bought out.
Believe it or not, we got a
Oh
little
yeah.
older. Kyle Lowry. So Phil, what do you think about Kyle Lowry? Should he retire immediately or should we keep him next year?
Coaching staff. Maybe he can come in as a trainer. I mean,
Mm.
probably help groom. Like, I mean, I don't listen. Kyle Lowry is a veteran, good dude, but absolutely not. I don't want him nowhere near like as far as dressing and coming in playing.
So
Absolutely
he could be with
not.
the organization, but his name can't be on the roster.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Like I don't mind. I mean, he might actually help groom some of the younger players, behind the scenes or something like that. But as a player, nah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to I'm
What
gonna
you
have to
think,
agree with
Bruce?
I'm gonna have to agree with Phil on that. Kyle Lowry, like I love what he did in Toronto, but to be honest, it seemed like when he was with Miami, he was already on his way out. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like he was kind of injury prone with Miami, and then yeah, I'm just have to say no. I mean, listen, he's old. He's not able to do much. Personally, I wasn't even a big fan of the signing when we first got him because I thought Patrick
yeah.
Beverly was doing fine for us, and then we moved
I
him to
did
make
too.
room for
I
him.
agree. I do too.
Like, yeah, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we got a big fish. A big fish. This is so let me give some context. Uh, since we all agree on KO, Drummond, and Gordon, like I said, it's about 17 million in money that we can get off the books expiring. Um, Gershon is up next, and with the way he played for a long stretch of the season, a lot of people were thinking we wouldn't be able to keep him. But with the Caleb Martin trade, and now we have these other pieces that are movable. He might be looking at about 15 million per year himself at age 29 over the next 4 years. He'll be 30 going into this contract. So, Bruce, what's your thoughts on Gershon and retaining him going forward?
I would definitely retain Yabusele. Uh, yeah, I would retain him. My only thing on him is that sometimes because of having a limited backcourt, I mean because of having a limited front court, sometimes we got to play him out of his actual position, and he
Mhm.
becomes a mismatch sometimes. But if we can get deeper at those positions, I think when we put him at his proper role at his proper position, I think that he'll even excel even more. His 3-point shooting has been outstanding. His defense. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember, but in the group chat, I was going crazy for him when we were playing the Nets, and the dude Watford, he drove to the basket and laid Yabusele up. Then he pointed at Yabusele and start chirping at him. Immediately after that, Yabusele caused Wofford to make like 2 or 3 turnovers immediately. like, yo, who's you talking to?
I like
So,
his spirit.
That
yeah,
was nice.
exactly.
I like his
He a good
spirit.
fit for the city too, right?
Facts.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. This team is strapped. I mean, money is going to be important going into the future.
Yeah.
He's at his age. He's not going to develop. He is what he is. You know what I'm saying? This is a finished product pretty much at this point. I mean, you know, some here and there, but like, it all depends on what happens with the main core like going next season. And I mean, at the rate we're going right now, I'm gonna have to say I pass on Yabusele because
Okay.
I believe that if you can find a young player, we've been hitting on draft picks. If you can find a young player like that, his skill set could be duplicated very easily. Or a lot cheaper than what he's going to cost you going into. You got to watch your money coming up. I like him. He's a good player. He plays hard. He did a thing. But for this team, I'm a pass.
How do you feel?
I look at Gershon as so with the way value works in the NBA, right? So you seen so this dude Quentin Grimes, who we willing to pay 15 million for years, we just got him for Caleb Martin, and we got Quentin Grimes and an asset for Caleb Martin, who's in that 29, 30 range age wise. So would I want to commit to Gershon in like a 4 year kind of deal? No. 2, maybe 3 with a team option on the end, just to have a movable contract to give us
Contract.
some flexibility in
True.
that financial slot. Because
True.
in re-signing Quentin Grimes, we're gonna go over the cap anyway.
He
But
is an asset.
right. But I do agree with Phil more in terms of I like Gershon. He is a rose and a concrete. That's what he represents. This season is the concrete, and
Yeah.
he is a rose. You know what I'm saying? But you know, the reality is we need a bouquet of roses, not just one.
Exactly.
And
Mm-hmm.
uh, so with a youth movement, with a soft rebuild, it doesn't make sense to commit money to a much older player, especially when you got somebody like Paul George you'll be owed so much money to. But as a flexible slot to, a non super long commitment, I would keep Gershon for sure. Um, okay. Moving on to the next player, we got Ricky Council. Now next year, he's actually unguaranteed all the way through. As long as we waive him with certain times. 2 years from now, he has a I'm sorry, a team option. We didn't give him a player option. He has a team option for 2.5 million. What do you guys think about some of his recent developments, and do you think he's worth keeping? Phil, what do you think? You start us off.
I think his development would be better if he plays more. Which they're not doing. But as far as what he's getting you and what he's giving you on the court, I believe he's progressing, and I believe he's going to progress more as the season goes on. I'm gonna keep him, especially for that price.
Quick answer. Yeah, I'm gonna keep him. I'm gonna keep him. What do you think?
Mar,
So let's be honest, right? I'm gonna make a crazy comment, but uh if we keep our pick, right, there's no big men available. So there won't like I know, we all good minds and we agree to go best player available. There's no bigs available in the top 6. Mostly wings, right?
Right.
We got Quentin Grimes, who's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard that can play some 3.
Right.
You got Justin Edwards, Paul George. These are guys that are definitely going to play. I'd rather bury a vet like Eric Gordon than Ricky Council. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that he doesn't have any value to be an asset that we could move for something else. But he is an unguaranteed contract, so maybe there's some value in moving him that way. But as a prospect, he's not going to get time. And Justin Edwards is straight up better than him, obviously. So is Grimes and Paul George. So
Yeah,
I would actually, I would pass. He is an interesting prospect, and we might have to let him go off and be an Isaiah Joe for some
I
other
was just,
team.
you took the words right out of my mouth, yo. I was just about to say
But
that, yo. I was just
yeah,
about to say that.
but it is what it is. We more you draft so good, you're going to have a number of Isaiah Joes. So it is what it is.
True.
yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Next up on the list, my second favorite player on the team, I would say probably, yeah, Adam Bona, second round pick. I was right too. I looked it up. He wasn't number 41 pick. I'm super sharp. Um, what do you guys think about him? And how he's played this year, Bruce? What do you think about Bona?
Like I said earlier, man, shot blocking specialist, and it wasn't just in the G League. He came when he got some time. He played up against some nice competition, and he was able to make some noise. His game translated to the league. So I'm definitely in for him because I want somebody that's going to be a shot blocking specialist to come in after to come in behind our starting center. You know what I mean? Definitely, coming off the bench and all that, but yeah, we're
All
going to
right,
need
Phil, what
that
do you think
because
about Bona?
I think he's one of the most interesting prospects the Sixers have. As far as like he's very raw, but he's very interesting. Like I mean, with the proper development, the more playing time and the more experience he gets, this dude could be like I mean, borderline defensive player of the year type of a candidate. You know what I'm saying? The potential like is really there. You know what I'm saying? He's their most intriguing prospect that we've had in a long time. Something about his game that I see naturally, like without the fine tuning, he's definitely a keeper.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, Bona, my second favorite player in the game. He's got some athletic tools that um are there to be unlocked. And not only that, just to have a player like Joel, it's good to have an athletic pop to come in opposite of him.
yep, yep,
And if when you watch him play, he's guarding out to the perimeter. He's switching. I really like his upside. I feel horrible for him that we don't have the kind of guard that can just run the pick and roll with him and get him easier looks.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see how things develop going forward. He's definitely a keeper. I think he's earned his spot going forward, and yeah, I'm really excited about Bona, especially next year if Joel misses significant time.
yep.
Um, there's a chance he gets more time when we get to really evaluate him in a better way. All right, next up on the list, Jared Butler. We got him for a first round pick that might not convey from the Wizards. Um, he's played a little bit so far. He is a player option next year for 2.3 million. I'm pretty sure that's a qualifying offer. No, it's not because it's not green. Okay. It's a team option for either, but he was also a two-way player. So I think we'll have an option for converting him to like a minimum 4-year deal. Anyway, Phil, have you really seen a lot from Jared Butler? What do you think?
Not enough to make a decision yet, but I mean, like you said, the asset ain't is it wasn't like we didn't give up that much to get him. Right now, I'm gonna say pass. Only because, like you said, like I believe for a player like that, we can sign unsigned free agent like next year draft probably could give us the same type of player. Right from what I've seen of what I see right now, I'm gonna say no because there's another player that you're about to say soon that we definitely have to keep. and I don't want him to take any of his minutes away. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna pass on that.
All right, what
Yeah,
about you, Bruce? Jared Butler.
I'm gonna have to pass. Yeah, I just haven't seen enough. I feel like he's not really going to crack the rotation once everything's really said and done. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on him.
Pretty disappointing to see us pay a first round pick for this guy, but then have Fultz sign in Sacramento for a minimum, right?
Yeah.
I think going forward, if you're gonna have two small guards like McCain and Maxey, who even though they're gonna spend time on ball, they have a lot of utility off ball.
Yeah.
I think the obvious thing to do is if there's any athletic, taller facilitators on the market, the obvious thing to do would be to get one of them. So I think the Sixers really dropped the ball with that. Not getting
Yeah,
faults. Jared Butler, he's a really good player. If we didn't have two 6'3", 6'2" guards, I'd want to keep him. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I'm looking for taller facilitators, 6'5", 6'4",
Yep.
6'6".
Yep.
And that Fultz, and Fultz is on a 1 year deal in Sacramento, I think. But that's the archetype. Even though he can't shoot threes, that's the archetype I would look for.
Yeah.
Like a Chris Dunn from the Clippers type of guard.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. All right, next on the list, Justin Edwards. So he was a two-way player this year. We're
mm-hmm.
probably gonna restructure the deal, get him for like a 3 to 4 year minimum deal going forward. Philly native. He was in MOTEP just like a couple years, like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Bruce, what do you think about Justin Edwards' play this year, and we want to keep him going forward?
Not only do I want to keep him, I want them to play him a lot more.
Yep.
I think he showed a lot in the time that he had, and again, he showed a lot during a time where Paul George was out, where Paul George was hurt. Remember, that's going to be these injuries are going to be a trending thing. Like they're going to keep happening. It's going to be a pattern. So you need young guys like that who aren't scared of the moment, who can come out first year and just ball out, hit threes, defend, can make the right pass. He's got some vision. He's just not out there doing wild, just wild shit all over the place. So yeah, I'm all for him.
Like Ricky.
Yeah.
I agree with B. He's definitely a keeper. Like, I remember when we played Milwaukee a couple weeks ago. Man, he was D'ing up Dame Lillard. He was so versatile, yo. Like, he's all over the place. He good. Yes, definitely convert him, pay him, keep him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up some stats right now. Let's see where Justin Edwards, where is he? Where is he? Yeah, for him to be so young, Justin Edwards, and have like not, I mean, his advanced stats aren't great, but to be 21 and just a negative 2.2 VORP.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go too much into advanced stats because but he's really promising going forward, versatile, good size on the wings. I'm a big Justin Edwards fan. He's one of my favorite players. I love to see us taking undrafted, rookies and from the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
make
don't
it
happen
something
a lot.
Yeah, he looks like a well-rounded. A lot of the games that we won over a few of these stretches, Justin Edwards
If
like
he
a plus
wasn't, he fell out of
26.
the rotation at Kentucky. Sorry, to cut you off. He fell out the rotation at Kentucky as a freshman. Okay, and if he didn't fall out of that little rotation in Kentucky as a freshman, he probably would have been a first round pick in a draft. He was a top player coming out of high school. He wasn't no dud. He went to a great school with a lot of other young players in front of him and just didn't kind of find his foot in there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really it with him. But the talent's there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe in college he relied a little too much on his three, so he had a little bit of trouble.
Yeah,
He had a little bit of trouble finding his role.
Yeah, kind of a weird year for Kentucky freshmen. I know DJ Wagner was a big prospect coming in too, and he didn't do that well last year.
he's not doing
Um,
that well this year either.
he left Kentucky and went with Cal. All right, pretty much the last player. Everybody else is a two-way. There is one other player I just want to hear what y'all got to say, but first we're gonna start with our one of our most recent signings. We actually got him on a 2-year deal. We got a team option on him next year at 3 million. Lonnie Walker. What do you guys think about him?
Great signing. Kind of feel a little bad for Lonnie because he just kind of bounced around. I think he should have stayed. The Lakers should have re-signed him that year when he stayed with them because he played really good for them, especially in the playoffs that year. When he was playing Golden State, I think it was, or Denver, one of those, whatever series it was when they were playing. I think it was the Golden State series. He really stepped up and was like hitting some big shots out there. Like Lonnie Walker's a good young player who I think he might have found a home here if he comes in and get the tick if Nick Nurse doing right. But yeah, definitely a keeper. At the price that they got him for, it's just a no brainer.
Yeah, 2.9 million. Pretty much the veterans minimum. All right, Bruce, we got a local native from Reading, Lonnie Walker. He can shoot the three, athletic. He dunked on everybody on the Sixers a couple years ago in the Nets game. I don't know if y'all remember that.
I remember.
But it was crazy. He dunked on Embiid. It was like him. It was like five players, literally all five. Bruce, what do you think about Lonnie Walker?
I think it is a great signing. I would definitely keep him. Uh, like you said, he can score. He can score. He's got athleticism. I would like to see him. I would like to see him improve a little more defensively, not just be so offensively minded. But I think he gives us a great punch off the bench. And again, Nick Nurse, if you watching this, play that man, play that
Definitely,
man.
definitely. Not just garbage time at the end of a
Exactly.
blowout against the Chicago Bulls.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, Same with me. I mean, I'm not that high on Lonnie Walker. He's one of them guys that I've always identified. Like, why isn't he sticking? And I'm like, I kind of see it. Inconsistent effort. Um, and sometimes, a lot of teams they put him in a larger role, and it takes away. He's really good. Seventh, eighth man coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have one of those lineups where you don't know, well, you don't got one of your key scorers or none of your key scorers for a 5 minute stretch, Lonnie would be good there. He's 26. He's a local guy, so I always support him. I really like Lonnie Walker. And it's not a long commitment, not a lot of money, so it's a really good deal.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not
All
bad
right,
though.
last one. I don't even know if we're going to keep him. So we actually used him to trade for DeAnthony Melton with the Grizzlies a couple years ago, and they ended up waiving him, and then we reacquired him. David Roddy, 6'7" wing, was a really, 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 really good shooter, I believe, in college, and his 2K, he's an A+ in the 3 point. So David Roddy, I think he's about 23 years old too. What'd you guys think about him?
I'm not sold yet. I got to see. Hopefully, as the rest of the year pan out, he gets some PT. But as of right now, I'm gonna say no. But that can change in the next few weeks, depending on how he plays and how hard he plays in the next few weeks. But as of right now, I'm gonna say no because I believe his skill set is a little redundant, and like I said, once again, it could be replaced easily. It doesn't cost us a lot or nothing. He's not all there, but it remains to be seen. I got to see more from him.
Hey,
Yeah,
Bruce,
I'm gonna have
do you,
to. I'm
do
gonna
you
have to
see
agree.
the Hey Bruce, do you see the George Niang potential in Roddy or what?
Right now, no. to be honest, I'm actually having a little bit of recency bias because, like, at the end, like I guess about the third, fourth quarter of the Bulls game that just passed, he got some minutes. He got an opportunity. And listen, the crowd was rooting for him. The crowd was rooting for him. That man could not hit 1 3. I'm like, damn, I would have went out there and hit one of them threes, man. Like, for what he's supposed to be. Yeah, for what he's supposed to be known for. And I mean, they weren't even bad looks. It wasn't like they were contested looks. Like, I wanted him to go off because I remember a guy that we don't see anymore. Actually, not even sure what happened. Remember the guy Turk, the guy, one of our G League guys, that point guard. He had came in, like last year. He had came into a game and hit like 4 threes back to back out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And that's what he do. So I would have to see a little more of Roddy.
You talking about Terquavion Smith?
That guy, yeah. He came into a game and shot like 4 straight.
I remember. Yeah, he's nice.
Incredible.
He's nice. Yeah, I like Turk. Yeah.
I expect shooters to do that.
R.I.P. Turk. I mean, not R.I.P. He didn't die, but we didn't keep him.
Right.
Sixers death.
But definitely a redundant player for what we already have. So I wouldn't keep him.
He was just drafted in 2 years ago, and he's already on a 10-day contract. I mean, first round pick is something off with him. So
well, listen, he's getting $288,000 for 10 days. So they're damn near playing him a first round rate. Like,
I'll take that.
Yeah, like what do he do so good that y'all gonna pay him 300 racks for 10 days?
Yeah.
we got a whole G League team. Them dudes making 70 racks the whole season. Like, you couldn't have brought one of them up, change their life. Like, but no, I actually do like Roddy. I've watched him a little bit. He didn't get a lot of time in Memphis. He didn't get a lot of development, especially because Santi Aldama, who's they was talking about us trade for him during the deadline. But we'll see. We got a couple weeks to prove him and Jared Butler, players like that. Maybe Ricky Council convince us to change our minds on him, but probably not. But okay, so that's all the guys we got. We also got Chuma Okeke. He was with the Magic. He like a big
I thought they released him.
It says he's still with us. No, it's Black. No. He's still with us. Because we signed him after Roddy. We just haven't played him yet. So he was I think he was a first round pick. So we'll see if he has promise.
When he was hurt.
We'll see if he has it. Yeah, he keep getting hurt. But we'll see if he has any promise. Orlando released him. He's kind of the same thing as Roddy, like on a 10 day, but it was a first round pick. So we'll see. So, but that pretty much concludes that part. So yeah.
All right, and I think that actually just about does it for tonight. We covered the prospects. We got the going forward. We got the Knicks coming up next tomorrow. Hopefully, hopefully they. I mean, I don't really know what they expect. What do you guys expect to see? What do you guys expect to see?
What I expect to see. Well, what I hope to see that they play hard and play with some energy, should I say, and lose. That's what I hope. What they do, the way the Sixers been playing this year, I might put some money on the game because they might cover the spread and win. Who knows? Like, that's just the type of year that they been having. But I doubt it. The New York team, they kind of struggling. This kind of easy one for them. Hopefully, but I would like to see some energy. I would like to see some more PT, just some more overall. So I want to see some good signs from the young players. Just see some good things, some positive things from them. And like I said, hopefully it still ends with an L. I would like to see a close loss.
Same. The tank is on, man.
Yep.
Y'all see the name. We not the Colangeloites.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
We're not the
we is the Hinkieittes.
Yeah, we're not the Brandites. We're the
Right.
the Hinkieittes. That's how we're going.
The Brandites.
So look, we got a lot of it was, you know, it sucks that pretty much every free agent from last year was a no except Gershon. But we got a lot of random yeses that we got throughout the year. Play them. We'll
Yep.
be by the grace of basketball guys, we'll be adding a top 6 pick who we can, you know, examine. McCain will come back. That's what this thing is about. That's what this thing is about.
Yep.
All right. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
And we out.